Hi BookTube, it's Eleanor here and it's time for my what I read this week. I'm not going to be doing a what I'm reading for next week because I'm going to be uploading my November TBR in the next few days, so you will see my plans for the next month, and in my next week's what I have read you'll find out what I read that week. So without further ado, let's talk about the 4 books that I have read this week. That's right, the first 4 books in the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Now, I decided it was time I marathoned this series, and I had the first 4 books. I now have the 5th book on its way to me to read, because you can't read the first 4 and not the last one. And yeah, so I'm going to tell you a little bit my thoughts about this. So let's start with Obsidian. Ooh, sparkle, sparkle. For some reason, I really didn't want to like this book. I don't know whether it's because of all the hype that's been going on, but for some reason in my head, I didn't want to like it. But I did. Katie, who is the main protagonist, is a book blogger, which I thought was a really nice idea. She makes videos and writes blogs about books, which is really good. And I was like, oh, that sounds like lots of people that I watch. And it's a familiar territory, so I found instantly that I was feeling a synergy with her. She's moved with her mother after her father's death a few years before from Florida to West Virginia, and basically she goes over to ask directions to the local shops from the neighbour, and he opens the door and he is obnoxious and rude and horrible to her. Her neighbours, twins Damon and Dee. She wants to get to know them before school starts. She's trying to make friends. She doesn't find it very easy, and certainly Damon isn't interested in being her friend, although Dee is really interested. And the story goes from there. Needless to say, and I don't think this is a spoiler, it turns out that her neighbours are aliens, and the story picks up from there. Now, this book was okay. I really didn't like the dynamic between Katie and Damon, so I gave it 3 stars. As I already had these books, I thought I would move on and read Onyx. I wanted to give it a good shot. Sometimes the first books don't really grab me and the plot builds up. And actually I have to say that I did enjoy the second book a lot more. The plot was much better and I felt like it developed much better. I still struggle with the dynamic between Katie and Damon in this book, but I do think that perhaps this type of relationship is part and parcel for this type of story. I gave this one 4 stars and I really enjoyed it. I don't want to talk to you obviously about what it's about because it would spoil it if you haven't read it. I then moved on to the big book 2 compendium, which is Opal and Origin, and I really enjoyed both of these and gave them both 4 stars. I thought they were really good, easy reading books. I thought the plot was good, and the relationship between Damon and Katie I felt got better, although I can't give it 5 stars because there's still something that I'm not 100% sure about in there. But I haven't read many alien books, and it was a nice new idea for me, a bit different from reading vampires and werewolves and supernaturals and witches, so it was nice to have a different type of story, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I have ordered the last one because how can I not know how this all ends up? And yeah, I would say if you want something that's easy to read and something that you can switch off and just immerse yourself in this world and enjoy and marathon a series, I read each of these books in one day each. They were easy, sit down, big gulp, plough through, page turners, whatever you want to say. They were just really, really fast-paced, good books, and I thoroughly enjoyed them for what they were. So that's all that I have read this week. I am currently struggling to find a book. I've picked a few up and put a few down, and so I'm hoping that I will find my next book pretty soon. But I will be uploading in a couple of days my October wrap up and my November TBR, and I shall be picking up something from that in the next few days. What have you read this week, BookTube? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of the Lux series. I'd be interested to hear what other people think. And yeah, I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.